All right, let's do a quick little sound check, see if you guys can hear me okay. I just started the giveaway, so Vanessa, make sure that you get in there and hit exclamation point ticket now. Your first one would not have gone in. All right, cool. Awesome. Check out this headline. Gotta love this, right? A glitch allowed one trader to 7 million. Gotta love when that happens, right? I mean, it happens to me all the time when there's a glitch and, Robinhood released a statement saying it's aware of the isolated situation. That's so funny. I'm actually surprised Jack didn't post that one. I'm gonna have to send that to him. Be like, Jack, look at this thing, man. Yeah, I'm gonna have to send that to Jack. That's good. All right, so everybody, welcome. Hope everybody had a good day trading today. Um, I was on and off most of today. Like I said, I'm still trying to finish up the video classes. Unfortunately, the baby was just crazy last night. I don't know if she's teething or what it is, but man, she was up like I don't know. I think she's like turning into a vampire or something. She was up most of the night. So I was on and off today, but we had a couple of positions that we set up last night run through to profit targets, and they're currently sitting there now as well. So with that being said, let's do kind of an overview of the day. For me, it wasn't like a huge day. Like I said, there was really no huge news releases today except crude oil. We saw what happened with that one. It had a really, really quick run up, and then news came out, and it just collapsed through the floor. So I'll cover oil before we kind of jump into charts. I will pull that one up over on Daily FX just to kind of pull that so you guys can kind of see what happened with that one. Not necessarily surprised. Like I said, it was kind of funny. Like watching the messages earlier this morning, I was like, look at that. But yeah, so we'll pull that one. Let me pull it up now on the other platform. All right, there. I'll have to put some lines on there. All right. All right. So with that being said, as far as currencies go overall for the day, you can see the euro is more or less flat, minus 10, right? Pound minus 31. Again, we had talked about those setups last night about them being high and then kind of retracing back to the downside. They were downtrend setups, I believe, last night that we had in them. Looking at dollar yen, very slow today. I mean, again, more than what the euro is, but minus 28. Just kind of a slow grind to the downside. Dollar Swiss, really nothing. Again, really nothing to drive that. Dollar CAD up 40. Again, that's that Canadian weakness that you're seeing there. And again, some of that Canadian weakness also has to do with the fact that the oil inventory report came in so high, which again would drive prices down, which would make the Canadian economy less viable, which again, seeing that one kind of come back up again, that weakness over there that they're, again, whenever you see that type of move, you're looking at that and saying, okay, there's got to be some weakness coming somewhere, right? And that's where it was. We saw it over the dollar CAD today. Look at Aussie dollar down slightly, euro pound, again, up 12. I don't really expect a whole lot for that pair. And then you can see the pound yen, although 70 is the big guy on the board. Again, that's still about half the ATR for the day. So again, rather slow day, but definitely we need to talk about tomorrow morning for that one because the pound and the euro actually both have news first thing in the morning. So it's something that we're going to want to watch out for. All right. With that being said, let's see here. Do I do this one now? Yeah, we'll just do it. Okay, so today, again, obviously, really the only big news was crude oil. You guys can see absolutely huge miss on this one. They expected an increase of 1.9, and it came in as a 7.9. As I said, the forecaster, I want the forecaster's job because that dude is never right. It's just such a huge miss on that one. And again, there was the spike up at 9:30, followed closely by the collapse that you guys saw right after that. So it was an interesting position setup. It's something that, again, you had to drop down and do some technical analysis. It definitely had the spike up at the right time. Okay, and again, that was the question. James was like, "Oh my God, something's moving," and it was a bit before the release. And the question I had for James was, "Is this a pre-leaked news release, or is this the preparation for the news release?" Okay, meaning that did the data come out early and the market's going to move that all day, or did somebody know the data, moved it into a better position for themselves so they could profit, and that's what it turned out to be today. So we'll cover that in a second. Um, Going into tomorrow, and again, we have Aussie trade balance again a little bit higher, but not a huge mover. So going into tomorrow, this is what I was talking about of what we need to watch out for tomorrow morning. Okay, so we have the EU economics forecast at 5 a.m. Eastern time. Okay, so that's going to be one thing. And again, we don't really typically get pure European, Euro-based news. Typically what we see, it's a proxy through Germany or France. So it's interesting that we have that. And then 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, obviously, late in the day for the pound, we have a lot of the BOE information, right? A lot of the data, the monetary policy report, the monetary policy summary. Obviously, the bank rate is not expected to change, and then at 7:30, the BOE Gov is speaking. So, why that's important again is because any type of mention, this is probably not going to be so much a talk about Brexit. I mean, they may mention, oh, if this happens, but they're really dealing with what they know right now, and that's what they need to focus on. And they're going to be talking about what the current economic state is, not what the future is, because Brexit is, I mean, they haven't left, so nothing has really changed right now for it. So it'll be interesting to hear what's going on. I mean, obviously, when Brexit, eventually happens, whenever it does happen, that's going to be one type of play. But this is going to be an entirely separate one tomorrow. And hearing how they feel the economy is doing over there. And you mentioned a recession or anything else, could definitely put some kinks in this one. And that way, maybe why we're already seeing it collapse 70 today. All right. And then tomorrow, the other piece that we're looking for is the Aussie, the RBA monetary policy statement at 7:30 at night. That may give us some foreshadowing if there's going to be any more cuts or kind of what their economic kind of watchdogging. What are they looking at right now? And again, there most likely would be some movement based off that statement as well. I don't expect it to be completely flat. All right. So with that being said, let's dive down into the scanner. All right. So scanner's kind of giving us a bunch of different kind of interesting kind of setups right now. Okay, looking over at the majors, you can see the CAD is sideways up, confirmed. Basically waiting for some type of a pullback to go, continue going long that one. New Zealand, you're seeing uptrend setup. You're seeing an uptrend setup in the dollar yen as well. And again, looking at the dollar yen, you can see didn't do much. And the reason why it's a setup is because, again, uptrend, and it is obviously pulling back. Looking across at the Aussie dollar, we can see we're sideways down confirmed. And again, you're seeing that minus 27 up here on the top as well. So what we're looking for is any type of green statement, green candle print on that one. Again, you guys can see it's literally, across the board where it's kind of set up for it. So any type of a push up in the air on that one, any type of dollar weakness or Aussie strength, we will be looking for some type of short entry there. Obviously, euro dollar, that one is down. It was an uptrend with an anchor break. So again, that is a short signal for us. Pound dollar sideways down. Again, we can see that one, any type of green pullback, we're looking for setup. And then Swiss sideways down. Okay, it's not confirmed yet. It's still within the anchor, meaning it's a sideways trading market. Nothing too exciting. We're not going to focus a whole lot of time on it. Looking in the middle across to the euro basket right here. You guys can see this one. So euro CAD sideways. We don't typically look at that pair often. Euro New Zealand, again, anchor break, meaning it's going up. You can see a euro Aussie down setup. Right, that one is obviously pulling back in that downtrend. We'll see if there's any type of a level over there. Euro pound, there's probably not a whole lot there. Euro Aussie, we'll see what's in that one. Euro Swiss, and not super interested. And then Euro Yen, again, obviously that one was down. I think that was from the level that we talked about probably 2 days ago. I think that's still going from that level. And then euro dollar, obviously you can see the anchor break to the downside. And again, it's not huge. We're only down 11 in the last 24 hours. So we'll check that one out. Looking at the pound basket. So the pound basket is kind of all over the place, right? We have some sideways up. The versus the Aussie and the Swiss, we see the downtrend set up. Pound yen, again, anchor break to the downside because it's down 70. We'll look at that. And then pound dollar sideways down. We're looking for a green candle in that one. Any type of pound strength or dollar weakness, give us a little bit of a pullback. See if we can grab a nice continuation pattern in that one to the downside. Looking across to the Aussie basket. So the Aussie basket, again, we'll look at the Aussie New Zealand. That's sideways up confirmed. So basically that thing is just trending higher. It hasn't pulled back in any of the time frames. So we'll see if we can get some type of a pullback, or we'll see if we're really approaching that upper supply zone again. We may need to get out of it. Aussie Swiss we don't look at. You guys can see that one. There's one setup, one sideways confirmed, and an anchor break to the top, meaning that we are getting a bit of a pullback on the lower time frames. I expect that we will have an anchor break on that daily candle soon. As you can see, anchor break on the dollar, the Aussie yen. That was a trade that we had talked about before. I'll show you that one. That was off of a level yesterday. Again, if you had taken that Nadex, turned out to be a pretty nice trade. It actually just hit the second profit target on that one. Looking at the CAD basket. CAD baskets are basically all consolidating sideways. We do have the pound CAD and the dollar CAD are both uptrend confirmed. Again, any type of pullback in those two will give us that setup. And again, it's across the board. So it's just trending. It's going to most likely run into a supply zone with the way that it looks like right now. Aussie CAD, kind of similar. I mean, actually, Aussie CAD, CAD Swiss, CAD Yen, all more or less similar setups. That it's basically CAD weakness going down. And again, the oil number today is probably what drove that in that direction. Again, Canadian dollar is obviously the proxy in that one. I don't know how many of you guys watched the CAD Yen. We talked about it last night. it just continued to the downside. So, nothing too surprising with that. With that being said, let's jump across and look over at oil. Let's switch over to charts real quick. So right now, this is set up again. This is that trading view pull out from daily FX. I have it down on the 4 hour right now just because, again, the 4 hour levels are the ones I like to look at. So here's where kind of price started the day out over here, right? So looking where price was, again, we're going to use this line, this horizontal line here at 57.50 and go across, and we're looking for some type of a level, and you can see it right here. So in this case, you can see that we do have a, where is it? No, not that one. This one. There we go. There's my rectangle. You can see that we had a basing level right here, okay? Now, diving this down on the lower level, we can drop it a little bit lower and see if we can kind of refine it at all, but I don't know if we're going to be able to go back far enough on this one. Oh, there we go. And you can see really where it was drawn is actually not a bad draw at all because, again, we can see the price here, kind of pulled down. There's a little bit of a pullback, and then there's really where the explosive candle came off. So actually, we'd probably want to just move it probably just a slight right there, okay? That gives us kind of our range of where we're looking for. And again, it's right at the top of this green body, right? That's really encompassing really the sideways movement before we really had the explosive move out, okay? So coming across, we'll drop down to the 30-minute, and we'll see kind of where we were. So you guys can see right here was what was happening. So the news release this morning was at 10 o'clock or 10:30, right? So you guys can see where was price right here, okay? Right there is where price is driving up. There's 10, there's your 10:30 right there, okay? So again, what do we see? Market starting way back here, we just started to go up, 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 and you're getting these rallies in there. Actually, hold on, never mind. I'm sorry. It was this piece over here, and then this retracement to the downside. So you're able to see that the market was moving early, rather quickly, right? But again, you guys can see where the drive up and then this real big collapse came down from, right? Okay. Again, whenever you see very, very sharp movement into a zone, especially something that was drawn on the 4 hour, it's just a telltale sign to be able to get out of this thing, or, to obviously take this trade, this retracement very, very fast. This movement was very big. It went from 57.80 all the way back down to 56.80. So again, you're talking about a very, very nice move to the downside. I am actually a little bit surprised it did break through this level here. It actually did go down and test this first piece in this last kind of rally over here. So I'm surprised it didn't stop here at 56.32. It went, obviously a little bit lower, and then it's stabilized over at 56.32. But you guys can see this. Whenever you have an ascent like this based off of some type of news or some type of release, I mean, this is just straight up in the air, running into a high quality, selling zone, right? I mean, we literally barely touched it. Again, you guys saw it. We looked at it on the 4 hour and refined it on the 30 on the hour. And you can see it literally it graced it and then boom, just came right back in again. So again, those 4 hour levels, it doesn't matter what market we're in. When you have great quality levels, large areas of movement, it doesn't matter what market you're in. These things are going to move. So again, quite a bit of movement. Again, you guys can see this. Whoops. There from here down. You guys can see it right there. We're talking about basically a 2 hour and a half window, right? $1.66 to the downside. Okay, $1.70 down to its peak. Okay, again, where it's stabilized right now, it's $1.50 down. All right, so large movement, short period of time, great Nadex setup, especially when you have some type of spike up like this due to news. Again, you can take advantage of those. That's the way to do it. All right, so let's close that one out. We will go back over and we pull some of the forex charts up. So first, looking at the Aussie yen. So the Aussie yen obviously is an anchor break to the downside. As you can see, again, it's on this chart, we're real close to where the anchor break is. Again, part of that's because there's a gap in there that the indicator is a little bit off. Again, he's still working on the gap candle. But again, you guys can see it is obviously pushing back down again. We talked about this before. You guys can see these two dotted lines. We had this level of basing here, right? A little bit of a piece in. It's actually a green doji here that we're kind of drawing it off of. And then the kind of extended range red candle, right? Going across, you can see there was the grace if you were able to grab it. I said you may or may not have been able to do it. Had you gotten short and again gotten in on any of the confirmations, again you could have taken the short from this position right here when you had the red, green, red on the 30-minute. Again, there was profit target one. You guys can see it fell right into the profit target one, kind of based and stabilized, right? Popped to grab more orders, and then bam, slam right down, and we are at target number 2 right now. Okay, so not a bad trade from that one on the way down. And like I said, it's an anchor break to the downside right now, meaning that, again, the uptrend, it was broken. It is reversing. So, again, we'll see if we can start putting in some levels of supply above this and potentially grab some type of a pullback. But I still think we're good to run this thing back down into the 74 range, the 74.40 range to the downside. I was not expecting such a run so fast. I was expecting to the down. Let's see how this morning. Yep. Yeah, I was actually expecting a down day as well. I actually looking at this, going back when I was doing the analysis. I mean, I don't trade it. You guys know I don't typically trade oil. But looking back this morning in the analysis, trying to go and recreate the trade and look at it, I actually was not expecting it to run up as high as it actually did. I love the zone. Didn't expect that type of reaction to the top side as high as it did. And then actually the downside was actually more exaggerated than I thought it would go, James. Um, Again, somebody wanted to throw some money down, but when you saw that early movement, I was definitely thinking down. Once that thing started to kind of rock around, and again, that's a big move. I mean, over $1.50 and off a news move is quite large. So, but again, yeah, those early foreshadowings of what's going to happen, and yeah, okay, um, moves like that, I'm like, yeah, maybe I should. But unfortunately, with the baby up last night, most of the night, it was not in the cards. She was quiet, and I was like, oh, I'm not doing anything. We'll just play this for a second. So I didn't trade that one today. As well as how to get the kids off to school. So also again, still looking at this to the downside. Also New Zealand. Okay, you guys can see kind of the same thing, not the same exact movement to the downside, right? We still bounced off that same zone, okay? And again, really, what did it do today? Not much, right? We kind of based, we went up a little bit, popped down again, and it's moving a little bit. You can kind of see it over here on the 4 hour. So right here, where we are right now, is at the 19 hour, and going back, you guys can see that the 19 hours right here. That's where we were last night. I talked about if we could get just a little bit further in this one up, it'd be worth taking it to the downside. And we did, right? So again, right here, you guys can see it says 21 at the bottom, okay? Going back, you can see that we have the 21 right here. So this is where we were yesterday. I said if we had a little bit more patience, let it go a little bit in there. If we can get some type of a confirmation to the downside, again, not horrible to take. In this case, the way that we would have taken this one, again, we really didn't get much of a confirmation because it did drop very, very quickly. But what you could have done is you could use this basing level, as I mentioned yesterday, and said, okay, here's your basing level right there. If we're able to hit that and use that as your risk level, again, we came back up, we tagged the very bottom. Again, a failure to go higher situation based off the base, and boom, we collapsed back down again. Risk was very, very small in this trade position, okay? You're talking about a total of about 4 pips in this one, right? Again, taking it back to the start of the last move, again, you could take it down to here, right? This is not a bad area, and you can see it went just past it and kind of bounced around, in which case there would have been your profit target. Not a huge trade, right? But again, at the end of the day, risking 4 to make 20, 5-to-1 risk to reward ratio trade. Okay, not every trade's got to be 90, 100, 200 pips. Again, just position yourself correctly. And again, bouncing that one right off of a daily zone, not a bad little trade, right? So again, small but mighty, right? That'll get the bills paid. Had you position size that one. Okay. And again, love that daily zone up top. We'll see if, again, we get another type of failure here and a flip. We could potentially be looking to take this one back down into this 107.74. Looking at Aussie dollar. Grab some tea. There we go. All right, so last night we talked about this. Again, we had that nice little pounce off this kind of failure to go higher twice, right? We hit here, fit here, again, from this zone. Went down, we based. Again, that was an area we talked about. This is where the start of the move was. We'd see what it was going to be able to do. We'd marked off this red area. Again, we ended up going down, kind of bouncing around. We're starting to get through the bottom side of it now, which, again, not a bad little area. On the daily, you do have a wick over wick. So a little bit cautious with this. I want to see how it reacts. I want to see if it's able to go down. A little bit of a momentum breakout if you're using kind of this zone, but again, not really the greatest zone. This was actually drawn from way back here, so it's just kind of a continuation of it from this. And again, this is not for this new entry. It was just this was kind of the continuation up, right? But we are on the bottom side of the channel using this as the top side, this is the bottom. And again, we peaked our head below it. So at this point, I think it's going to be looking for some orders, and I think we're going to make an attempt lower. I still think the downside target on this one will probably be the 68.38. That would be not a horrible one to kind of take advantage of. But besides that, right now, it's kind of like, I mean, we'll see. I think some of the RBA data tomorrow will be, a bit of a mover on this one. I'd like to get a little bit more of a 4-hour level established. I don't really necessarily like this one because you're talking about 6 bars across. This is not horrible. I like this because it is descending. So this potentially may be kind of a smaller area we look for on some type of a pullback, right? As something precautionary. We'll see. I don't know. It's about the only clean area. And again, nice drop in, 2 hours of sideways and then a nice drop out. So, we'll see how that one goes. It may not be, a bad little area for news tomorrow. Looking at pound Aussie. Again, pound Aussie, not an 8x base pair, so you won't be trading this one over there. Obviously, Aussie yen, Aussie dollar, you could trade those in 8x wise. This one's just really kind of sideways. I mentioned last night again, we've been grinding, and we had this level over here at 186.17. And you can see, what did we do? We literally breached it right at the start of the move and kind of bounced from it, right? And now it's literally just sideways. Pretty ugly. It's like one of those hairy caterpillars. Obviously, no trade setup in this one, but again, proof that you got to watch out on the daily zones even when you're trading on smaller time frames, right? Great profit target for this short. Took a long time to get there, but at this point, it's kind of one of those things you need to watch out for. All right. Looking at euro pound. So euro pound moved about 16 pips to the north side in the last 24 hours. We mentioned about it going into this bottom zone where we're going to see what it was going to do. Would it respect that zone? And it went about 3/4 of the way through. So I'm happy about that it did eat up a lot of it. Again, anytime you make a deep pierce into one of those zones, it means that we're going to start sucking more and more potential power out of that zone. So, but what did it do here? Again, it did hold the bottom side. So again, we've still had this kind of rock and a hard place area. It looks like it's grinding back up again, and we'll see if it's able to get back up to this 68.50 range. It looks like we keep running into a lot of problems before we hit that area. And looking across to the left, you guys can see here on the 30-minute, again, there's levels of basing, right? Down, base, but again, single wick here, single wick here. So it's going to have to chug through a lot of this stuff really before we get back up top. So it may be a bit slow. Tomorrow, obviously, with euro data and the pound data, I definitely feel that this one has the potential that it could move. The farther it gets away from this area, the harder I think it's going to be to finally break out the bottom side of this one to the downside. Like I said, this one seems like it's locked in at this 86 position, like it doesn't want to go much lower, and it's going to take something big. Again, good data tomorrow for the pound. That could be the catalyst that we need to really just bust out the bottom side of this. But as of right now, it's kind of just, we're still in this sideways pattern. I mean, look at this. We talk about, trading markets or non-trading markets, and yeah, we finally got a nice red candle, but all it did was go from one side of the channel to the other and just kind of pull back. It was funny. I was talking about this one with somebody today. So check this one out. Talk about consolidation, right? I mean, we were wider here because of these three candles, and then what did we do? It literally has just gone sideways, and look at this. I mean, it's always bad when the top and the bottom sides of like the Bollinger Bands are literally on top of each other. But I just thought that was pretty funny, right? Like, this is, normal consolidation. And then you have this. I'm trying to see if they're actually going to come. I've never seen that where they've actually like basically almost touched and been on top of each other. I mean, obviously they're on Friday, but a midweek, you never see this, right? I mean, this is, this is basically as thin as it gets, and this is still moving up, right? I mean, at this point, you guys can see the distance here. If I draw this, right? That's the height. Look at this when we move this across. I'll change this to something you guys can see. I mean, look at that. It's already half that width, right? It's already half that size. So it's down to here. So never quite seen it this small, and it's just telling that again, how sideways this market actually is right now. Take that back off again. So again, let's see if we can get up top, and then maybe we'll look for something, but we need some catalyst in this one. We need Brexit to finish so this thing can go back to work. Now, euro yen. So euro yen, if you guys are looking at the scanner, okay. Whoops, blew it up. Okay, euro yen on the scanner, right? We have right here the sideways down confirmed. All right. So what we're doing is we're looking for a bit of a pullback into that zone. Okay. Not that one. Switch across, and there we go. All right. So this is what we're talking about. We mentioned this last night, that this zone here on the downside has definitely been an area that has been beaten up, it's been pushed into, and now it's getting driven into very, very deeply again, right? We got 1 here, 2 here, potentially you could say this is 3 and 4, or at least 3 because that was its bounce out. No doubt that this one is definitely 4. It could potentially be 5. What's the question? Once Brexit calmed down, euro pound just stuck. Yeah, well, it hasn't calmed down. It's just that there's a delay with no kind of direction, right? So everybody's so exhausted waiting to figure out what's going to happen. And that's the same thing we saw in the spring. And it was boring for a long time, for a lot of the summer. So I'm voting for it to, just complete and be done with. But in this case, so again, we have this sideways down confirmed. We are sitting in an area of demand though. But here's the thing. It is an area of demand that has been beat up. It's been, pushed into deeply. Again, there's a lot here. So what we're going to start doing now is saying, okay, listen, after this many attempts, don't know if this area is going to hold. So let's start looking for the Harry Potter trade, right? Let's see if we can get that type of bounce in here, right? A momentum breakout to the downside. Again, if it turns and bounces, great. We've lost nothing, right? We didn't get into the trade, but at this point, it's hit so many times. Let's see if we're able to get this. And again, this is probably a bit sharp. It's probably more something along those lines, right? And this one actually may be, it may actually be something like this, that. But again, on the lower time frames, we're going to see, be able to draw, a triangle to the downside. But that's what I'm looking for in this pair right now, some type of momentum breakout. And question I had too by a person was, how do I set alerts for momentum breakouts? Like, how would I know, when's the time to enter? Okay. So a lot of the times what we want to do is we want to make sure that the area is cleared. And remember, we want to have enough white space at the downside for these things. So typically you don't necessarily want to set, an alert like here. Okay. Because again, a little bit early, you could potentially be looking to say, okay, I'm going to set something up. Yes, that's nice to know, but typically you want it to go just a bit farther. We want to make sure that we have enough room on that one. And there's a couple ways you could do it. You can use ATRs, you can use, crossovers, a lot of different things you could do. But typically what I would do is figure out, in this time frame right here, right, we have our ATR, and our ATR is what? About 20 pips, right? Now, if we were to draw a box that is 20 pips high, okay, you could take this and say 20 pips is right there, okay? Now, 20 pips seems like it's far. I mean, yep, it is a bit far on this one, right? But if we have half that, would we still be able to draw a triangle? Probably. But what I would do is probably use about 3/4 of this one. If you're looking at an ATR of about, and again, there's some bigger candles in here. Again, some of this is, you see some of these things in here. What I would do is make it at least 10, 15 pips past. So if you're using it as alert, again, what I would do is I would cut this ATR in half and say, where would my alert be? My alert would be right in this area right here. Okay, and again, that's where the bounce could potentially occur. But so what I would do is I would say, in this case, again, every pair is different. I would put my alert right there. If price touches there, I want to know. So, again, I could potentially get in. Okay. And again, that's based off of half your ATR during the time period for the momentum breakout. All right. And in this case, it's 1/20/20. All right. For a momentum breakout down to the side, to the downside. All right. Looking at euro dollar. Okay, this one's down 12. Okay, very similar situation. Okay, now this one has been hit 1, 2, 3, and again, this is where it looks like the break is going to come through. Same situation, but be cautious of this one. Again, we've had a couple different profit targets to the downside that we talked about. Again, here's the 19. The last 19 was right here. Again, we were sitting in that zone. Hasn't done much. It pulled a little bit out and then pulled right back down where we were last night. Same scenario. I'd look to the downside on this one. You can set an alert. You could potentially, at this point, we've driven it. It's driven low enough right now. I don't think there'll be necessarily positive news tomorrow for the euro. Just with everything and the stalling, and I don't think the world economy is great right now. We're seeing across the board that it's not, and the fact that there's European news, it's kind of one of those, if there's no news, it's good news, but when you do have news, it could be bad. So where we are now, again, it is definitely making a concerted effort to push lower. We could wait for the white space and get, that triangle drawn in here, and, be able to, draw something there to where it's a little bit safer. But now it may even be the time, knowing that we have European news and pound news, you could potentially look at, some type of out of the money strike for Nadex to the downside. Again, the risk will be very small for it because there's never really a lot of volatility jacked into the euro pair. But you could take some to the downside, take some type of small risk on it, see if you can double or triple your money based off the news. Because like I said, don't have European news a lot, and there's a lot of it tomorrow morning. But again, we could do the same thing with the pound necessarily, and we'll look at that a couple things for now. All right. So you could be conservative. You can wait till we go lower and then wait for a pullback. You can also, tomorrow this one is also at a reasonable time. It's at 5 a.m. I say reasonable. 5 a.m. is reasonable for some people. Again, if you're used to waking up early, you may be up at that time. Again, you can go and look, at some of the closer binaries to figure out what type of price happened after the European Open. That's the only risk about taking a position now, is you do have to deal with 2 hours of the European Open first before, again, we get into the news movement. But with European news and no other kind of European release, I don't expect we'll see too much movement before then. But again, it's always possible. Is it probable? Probably not. But it could happen that we could see some type of European movement early to kind of again take this maybe a little bit farther away. Again, I could see European movement pushing this up right before it pushes down. But again, that's what I'd be looking for is a push down, a pull back at that zone, and then again a collapse. Let's see, how far is that area? 18 to there. That's where I wanted. About 30 down to that level. And that's based off the daily. You can see it's not even really a great area here. Still think we can get down to 110. This could definitely be a 60 pip mover tomorrow with the news. Down to the 110 area, which is down here. Although this is the daily profit target, I'm thinking. So on the scanner, Euro Aussie is currently at a downtrend setup. Again, same kind of problem that we ran into before. Okay, we just literally bounced off this. So yes, it is pulling back green, but what did it turn off of? It pulled off of a demand zone. So not necessarily the safest place to do it. But again, we talked about this yesterday that there was the basing level here. We saw price kind of touch earlier today at about 11 o'clock this morning. It not only hit and then kind of rallied back down again. You can see it wasn't a huge. It didn't fully retrace back. But it was about 40 pips to the downside. So there was some movement in there. You guys can see it respected the level pretty well. And we pushed into it a little bit more. It'd be interesting to see if we have the ability to push through the top right now. But again, there was the zone we drew from last night to the downside. Didn't quite hit. It got super close to that red target. Probably missed the target by a few pips on the downside. But I wouldn't say there's a lot of movement right now. So a bit cautious in this one because I do like the euro to the downside. But the problem I have with this one is the way that these candles are formed. Large wick down here, large wick that didn't go quite as low from this green level here. So definitely some buyers below that are making me a little bit Don't know if I like this one as much for the European news breakout. I definitely think I like it more on the euro yen and the euro dollar to the downside. So just be cautious about this one. Again, on the 4-hour, do love the basing level. Again, that's what we had marked off here. That's what we saw the pull back down again. And again, it did push in a second time, and again, push in another time. So we are starting to, it is starting to run out of, usefulness, that zone. But just know that it is, currently still in play. And again, not a lot of risk in that one to the downside. But I think I like the other two, a little bit. I think the other two are a little bit safer. So looking at pound yen, again, pound yen is down 78 right now. Again, it's one of those ones that's just so frustrating. It's like, oh, you're so close. Come on, just go a little higher. Let's be conservative. And we didn't get back up there. It got so close and just didn't go. It's right there. It's just right there. So close. And then it pulled all the way back down again. So again, did it leave the sideways movement? No. I mean, you guys can see over here. Again, the ATR is at 111. Okay, so again, stabilized a little bit because, again, not a horrible day today, but again, have we left the zone? No, not really. And we're still in, obviously, anchor breakdown. It is below the anchor right now. And again, the scanner is giving us, uptrend with an anchor break. And again, that's what we have, right? You guys can see right here. Remove the red, look at the green only, go across. We hit something before we hit it on the top. And again, it's close, right? It's kind of over here versus here. All right. And again, we're breaking to the downside. And again, even looking at this, if you guys are using the oscillator, there's one, there's two, and we'll see what it's able to do. All right, I think we're gonna have some problems. I don't think we'll go much lower in the overnight, at least. Again, buyers here to the downside. I'm hoping that there's some good news. Again, I'd like to see some more pound strength come to this one. I really want to see that euro pound go lower. I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, if we get a spike up in either of these two zones, again, be looking to go, short. And the way that I'd handle this with the news tomorrow is if we get a spike up, drop this thing down to the 10 or the 15, see if you can get some type of a confirmation that we have a retracement to the downside, and then I would take that thing short. You could potentially take that in an 8x 2-hour as well, but see what the volatility is on that one. And again, if we get a confirmation entry here, don't hesitate to this one in currencies and use the confirmation. Like I said, we missed it here, but we got a good, nice red, green, red here, and you took no heat in this one. Again, failure to go, you know, I would say it's a near-term failure to go higher because here would have been your near-term higher. But again, confirmation is here. That gave us a level. Popped, grab that level, and you can see it's done nothing but kind of go away from that level all day. All right, to the downside. So what we have. But again, we're at the bottom side. If you guys look on the 4-hour, here's where current price is. Where are we at right now? Area of basing. So don't necessarily love that one, but we'll see what it looks like going in tomorrow. Again, overall, still bearish this position, right? Bounced off this daily. So looking at the pound dollar, kind of a similar situation. Again, a slow grind. Okay, technically you could still be in this one. I mean, most likely you got taken out here, but again, there was your daily gap. Look at this thing. Okay, imagine setting a touch point in this sucker, right, to the downside. I'm pretty sure. I think this one has busted 2 touch brackets now. Maybe. Hold on. Let me see. 95. No, we wouldn't have busted 2 yet. We'd have been close to the first one. But literally just ride this thing to the downside. Small risk on it when it pulled back. Again, Sunday gap strategy to the downside. Now, same idea. We are basing, and I mentioned this yesterday, that, again, could see it being down, but question is, what is it going to do when it hits this level? It pulled back to there. It turned. It stabilized. It based. It went back up. It re-entered again. Again, you guys can see, got a couple different ways to enter this one on the daily. And it's starting to go to the downside. And again, this is one of those things. You guys know that I don't play a lot of touch brackets. Again, this is definitely something you could have played in spot currency, particularly off the gap on the 30-minute. But again, one of the advantages of this touch bracket is it's a week long. It's a week long. It's a week long spread. So it does have the stop loss in there, which we don't love. But again, it is more in touch, and again, you don't have to worry about the ceiling and the floor as much if you get a good entry. Okay, this is one of those cases where the touch bracket actually would not have been a bad trade for this one. Again, being where we were at a daily supply zone, and having a gap in there when the touch bracket was printed, it's not a bad scenario to take this one, right? Now, when we get the good spreads out there, then that may be a different story. The touch bracket may not be, again, if we could remove that. But again, the time duration is one thing that the touch brackets do an advantage on, and this is one of the 4 touch bracketable pairs. So I know I don't trade them all the time, guys, and I don't want to shy you away from them, but this would have been, not a bad opportunity had you taken this one and actually traded a touch bracket off of that one. All right. And again, still looking for downside targets over here in the 126 range. Like I said, I think we can bust through that. Again, it can be one day. They could say that, that we're seeing, extreme slowing, or, it only takes one word tomorrow and this thing can move and this thing can fly. And again, it could absolutely, without a doubt, come down here in one move. And then we'll see what it does from there, what type of stabilization, or if it's going to retrace. All right. Now, just a word of caution too, because I know some of you guys that are on here that are new, right? You guys came from the parabolic retracement webinars. There are certain times, and this is one of the rules of parabolic retracements, you need to be cautious about fundamental changes in the markets. Okay. A news release is fine, but when there's a fundamental change, parabolic retracements are slightly different. Okay, so you just got to be a little cautious with that. A lot of people see the webinar and they're like, oh, I got this figured out. Yeah, I got it. No problem. But there are certain rules and things like that you got to follow. And again, monetary policy summaries are one of those things. They have their own little kind of asterisk next to it, right? There's caveats to them. Okay. Now, looking at pound New Zealand, just with the spread on this one, you guys can see how big the spread is. You're talking about 7 pips. Just with really the pound kind of being flat and really not having a lot of movement right now, I'd be cautious with this pair just because, again, we can get some absolutely huge movement on it suddenly with some type of news. And again, is it worth the 7 pips that you got to? Probably not, right? You may just get chopped up because of the spread, because of the, again, when we're, in trending markets, this one's cool to do. But right now, because everything's been kind of sucked out of this one, the pound has really lost a lot of the power. And it literally could be like a coin flip and this thing will shoot. And again, it may be a little bit dangerous. Now, we are approaching a zone that we have, have seen kind of selling off of over here at 202.95. We're a little bit from that right now. If you want to look at it, you guys can see it from right here, from here down, right? We're about 70 pips from that. Now, again, you guys know this one, the ATR is up here around about 167. So it's about half of a day's worth of work to be able to get up to that zone. But again, it is a zone that's very small. So if you did want to get into this position, Again, if we're grinding up and we're in this zone before news, then obviously put something on here. Make sure you have a good stop. Again, the spread will widen. The spread's, going between 5 and 7, so just be a bit cautious with that, all right? Going across, let's look at New Zealand dollar. All right, so New Zealand dollar has driven itself all the way back down again, and we're sitting inside of daily demand. Okay, so the question is now is, will we continue to see dollar strength in this one versus New Zealand weakness? And my question is, I actually think we do have the ability to do it. I actually have some downside targets on this one down here. You guys can see it right here, this line right here, down at 63. It's about 50 pips from where we are right now. Obviously, this time of night, it really starts to get flat. It wasn't a huge moving day, but not horrible, right? I mean, here's where we are right now for 19, and going back, the 19 candle is here. So again, a little bit of a pullback. It pulled back into this level of basing, which I didn't love because the red was higher than the green. I would prefer if the green was higher than the red. But again, nonetheless, it turned, it went back down. And again, for the day, for the bottom of that zone, you had about 25, 30 pips movement. So slow pair, right? It is moving. It is going slow to the downside. But I feel that this week, we will continue to get some dollar strength in this one. And it's not so much even dollar strength. I still feel that it's, the best of the worst kind of scenario, if that makes sense, right? I'm sure you guys are very familiar with the best of the worst type scenario. Kind of like what we saw last time. All right. Let's look at dollar Swiss. Does anybody, for those of you guys that are out there, just go ahead and type it in the chat. Has anybody gotten a trade on this one this week? I know we were literally butting up against this zone, and we've talked about this zone a little bit. Again, it's flat zone. We hit here, we hit here. Did anybody get into this one? Again, this would have been early this morning at about 6:30. Got a little movement on it, but I don't know if any of you guys grabbed it or not. Like I said, when I have limited time, the dollar Swiss is not one of the ones that I really focus a lot of time on. And again, I wanted to get higher. This was just a short-term play if anybody was in it, but I don't know. Like I said, Ernest, I know that you will trade this pair and like it, although I think you've been busy lately. But it's not one that I took today. Again, we did go right off the zone at 6:30, and then moved. You're only talking 18 pips, so not really anything gigantic. I mean, obviously it was a very tiny zone too. It wasn't big. Just wasn't sure if anybody took this one as well. Again, we marked that zone off. It was the basing level, and the reason why we liked it is because, again, had one pierce here that was right where it was supposed to be, and then we had a lower pierce in showing it that there were still some people there. And again, we're talking about patience. We're talking about over here. It's like, oh, it's close, but let's wait till it comes up, and it did. It came up, it grazed it 6:30, 7 o'clock this morning, and then again pushed its way down. Don't know if anybody took that one. And again, currently right now, this pair is sideways down. Again, it is inside. Again, this green is inside the zone, and again, the red candle just pulled back a bit. So again, upper end of the curve on this one. We're at the upper side of the channel where it's been turning and flipping. This may or may not be the turning point. There's really not enough conviction right here. I skipped it this time, or it wasn't enticing. Yeah, like I said, it wasn't anything huge. It was a very small position. It's kind of like if you were there and there was nothing else on, then it would have been worth taking, but otherwise there was other opportunities. So yeah, wasn't sure if you guys did or not. To me, it just wasn't. I wasn't super excited about it, and again, with everything else going on this morning, with kids and the baby, it was kind of like there's no point to look at it for me. But I know you guys were doing different stuff, right? All right, looking at dollar CAD. So dollar CAD, obviously, the oil was able, the oil news today was going to kind of affect this one. So interesting place where we are right now. Okay, see we have this zone that's sitting over here, right? This is formed after this last push to the downside. So very interesting place of where we are. And again, what do we have today? We had CAD weakness, and again, not surprising. Okay, now with this pushing up, it's a very interesting position because again, we've seen this push up, but looking at it, it's like, well, listen, we have this area, we see it on the daily, we can see it, we dialed it down on the 4-hour, and that's really kind of where the main push came from. And the last time the price was here, where we are right now, it got turned away. We got front run. We never even got entered into the position. So again, going into tomorrow, there is U.S. data, but it's a 30-year bond auction. It's nothing crazy, and there's no CAD data whatsoever. So kind of an interesting scenario. It's like, yeah, on the daily, I like it. We're obviously, in the near term, we are definitely trending to the top side. We had a nice, healthy, rally off of, again, great demand zone, right? We talked about this. That's what finally stopped it and turned it around. Nice rally up, hit this level, pulled back, found more buyers, and now we're making another push straight through. Okay, so interesting position. Like I said, the trend is pretty strong. It did pull back. It did grab more where it needed to. And again, even today, on the 4-hour, right? Nice push up, little pullback. Nice push, back, and then again, driving forward. I do expect we'll have a little bit of a pullback on this one, but I really feel like this one wants to bust through the top side of this. Like I said, CAD data hasn't been great this week, and I'm trying to figure out where's the catalyst for this thing to kind of, get crazy, get funky with it. Now, again, the risk is not very big, even if you're taking this, this zone here. Again, not a lot of risk. You're talking about, 12 pips. So if you did take the confirmation, you definitely could do that. This is the 10-minute. Let me bring it back up to 30. Whoops, not the 15. I'm sorry. Okay, that was the shorter term one, not the large one. This is the other one I said we could have taken off of here. You can see here. Let me extend this across. Type of line I thought it was. Here we go. Let's change these to. So you guys can see, super, super close from actually entering the area. And as I said, you're looking at about 12 pips risk on that one. It's 10. But again, lines obviously add the 2. Make it 12. And again, potential areas of this could turn and flip to. Again, not a bad area here. A little bit of a pullback here. Probably put it somewhere down in this area. Again, let's see. Probably, 30 puts us right around where this base is. Again, not a bad first target if you wanted to do that for kind of a 3-to-1. Like I said, I think you're probably okay to get it down into this area here. That like 39 to 40 range is probably a better idea for this one. If you're looking for something small, take a tinier trade. A 10 for 40 or like a 12 for 36, somewhere around in there. CAD employment on Friday. Yep. Yeah, the CAD data has been great lately. So again, but Ernest, I don't think this will hold necessarily that long until Friday. Again, if it hasn't hit that zone, yes, absolutely, this could be the setup. Like if this was Thursday night, I would say yeah, I would definitely be looking to get short this position, just for the volatility play on there. But again, I think we have a little bit too much time to be putting, it's Wednesday night, putting a trade on for Thursday or for Friday, unfortunately. Okay. This would be just a purely tactical play on this one. But that's a potential trade setup, and again, it's basing off this area. It is going counter trend. Obviously, the scanner is telling us right now that again, we're sideways up confirmed. So again, we need on the daily, the 4-hour, and the 1-hour, it's all giving us the same exact trade setup. But again, what is it doing? It's telling us to go long into an area of supply. So in this case, yep, trend is great, except when we run into an opposing zone. And for me, I'm going to most likely take the opposing zone in this case. All right. So that's what we're looking for the downside. Now, dollar yen. All right, so dollar yen, we had, what's the total for I'll give you guys the rated, minus 30 for the day. Okay, was it exciting? No, no. You guys can see we're still talking about that first zone that we talked about, right? One tag here down. This one came right back up again and ended up going right above the 109.18, and it's driven to the downside. So here was your first profit target that we talked about, right? And you guys can see, what did it do? It hit it, it based, it just went sideways, and then it pulled up to grab more orders from here and is making another attempt to the downside. So there would have been your first target. Again, small position. Excuse me. And then again, that's pushed off over here. Oh, guys, look who just got here, Mac. Mac, welcome, man. Mac, I was pretty excited. I was waiting for you to jump back in, and here's why. One of our long-term Mac members, he bought a PC this week. Just want to let you know, buddy, he bought a PC this week. So as soon as I saw that, and he sent me a picture, it's actually a really, really cool setup. He's got some fancy monitors, got some Razer icons up there. I saw it, I was like, man, I cannot wait to tell Mac. I'm gonna be like, yo, there's another one bites of dust. I still have one holdout. Vanessa's still a holdout. She's still trying to do this on a Mac, but Carl finally made the jump. I'm gonna call him out. Everybody welcomed him with open arms. We were very proud of him. There was a lot of hugs. We were pretty excited, and I was like, man, I can't wait to tell Mac. I was like, Vanessa cried, I think. She was upset. She was like, what? You abandoned me. But yeah, Carl's a monster. He's an absolute trading monster. So When he said he switched over, I was like really excited. I was super proud of him. He's angry over his Mac. Exactly, right? It's good stuff. So again, this one is still moving to the downside. One thing I do like about this one too, I just want to add in here. Again, we did break through this basing level, and it'd be easy to say, "Yep, I'm going short now," right? But we did jump through this. I like the fact that we finally broken this, but be cautious. Okay, look at this. One wick here, then a single wick here, and then a wick over wick. So there's definitely some barbs in this fish to the downside. So but I think it'll keep moving again. This is a nice thing going off those upper ranges. Again, I still think we can get it bounced back down to here into the 108 range. Again, that would show dollar weakness, but remember the dollar yen currency pair is not necessarily about dollar strength as much as it is about the U.S. stock market. So it becomes more of a stock market play than anything at that point. All right. Let's see. What was I pulling up? Yeah, there we go. All right. And again, the reason why I was doing this one is, again, here's kind of what we have right now, right? You guys can see, again, push up on the ES, right? Up, 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 and a bit of a pullback and kind of a stabilization. Where in this one, it was kind of the same thing, right? We kind of led, right? Up, 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 up. Again, on the daily, what do we do? Up, and we're starting to get that turn. Okay, so don't be surprised if, again, you see some, overall stock market continuing to push to the downside. Okay, this is acting as a bit of a lead, right? And again, going off larger time zones or larger time frames. Okay. For me on this one though, there's not really like I probably don't. I'm not a huge fan of this one going into tomorrow. Like I said, if you're still short, I would say you're still safe in this one. Um, Again, the 30-year bond auction is not really going to be a big thing that I'm going to follow or pay attention to. And even going into Friday, um, I mean, preliminary event consumer sentiment. Consumer sentiment. There are times that it's a really great mover, and here's why. If the consumer feels that the markets are good, they're going to be willing to spend money, and again, that can help drive the market. Um, but again, I really think that just Canadian news is what's going to dominate on Friday morning. Now, it has been a few days. We haven't seen any crazy tweets or anything like that. I don't know if you guys know, Virginia's election was yesterday, or I guess yesterday/today. The Democrats took it back over. I wouldn't be surprised if Trump makes some type of a comment, which I think could bring maybe a little bit of volatility back into the markets. But I don't know. I just feel like we've been a couple days and there's been no late breaking news, right? Like we got one today that Trump and Z meet delayed until December as talks continue. It's like okay, yeah. I mean, look here, we can. This is all we've heard, right? U.S. U.S. as presidency when phase one could be signed. Um, again, do they need? But here's my thing. Like, so why this looks like it's a lot of big news? That's like, oh, they've delayed their meeting until as they continue to talk other. Okay, it doesn't really necessarily matter. They're doing all the talking now. It's like maybe they can meet to sign it, but if everything is done, they're going to put it into effect earlier and they could sign it later. So, like I said, I just feel like there's a lot. There's more that could happen, for lack of a better term, if that makes sense. Okay. And then last but not least, let's go across to CAD yen. CAD yen obviously is going to basically be in play for the rest of the week. Canadian news, again, for Canadian news, the purest way to play it is always going to be CAD yen because the yen will always be considered the weak kind of indeterminate pair. Playing with CAD dollar, again, a little bit harder because again it also involves the U.S. market and obviously the reasons for the CAD weakness. Again, you guys can see this one based off of again this 4-hour zone, right? Again, had we gotten super conservative, we did not get entry. Had we taken the entire zone, right, the entire level of basing based off the 4-hour, based off the wick over wick on the daily, right? Again, if we didn't over tweak this one, you got entered. If you didn't, you missed it. And we just passed the profit target from last night. Okay, to the downside. So, doubt any of you guys take it. Ernest, I know that you hate this pair. But again, wasn't a bad setup. If we over tweaked it and got too conservative, we would have missed entry. But you're able to get this one in there. Okay. Again, this one's had some nice movement. Compared to a lot of the other charts that have been really, really ugly. I mean, look at this on a 4-hour. This has put them in some nice levels, right? Down here, down here, down here, bounced and returned. Again, this one stabilized and based right below the zone, ended up going through and had to chop through a couple different times and finally broke through, grabbed exhausted orders, and then came all the way and went right back to it. So Actually, not been a bad trade whatsoever. Actually, that one's not straight. It's right there. Now, where we are now, we're in an area facing. Okay. Um, if this was going into Friday, I'd be looking to get long this position. It's not. It's going into Thursday. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to touch base with this one tomorrow and see where we currently are. See if it continues to drive lower. I want to see what it does with this level in here. If it just goes a bit lower, again, we will be in an area of buyers, which again gives me a little bit more reason to think that again we could have a pop based off of news. But again, we're over 24 hours away, so too much right now. All right, just nothing we can do with it. All right. So with that being said, trying to see, is there anything else we should really cover? Oil was today. Indices again, those are kind of you guys saw where those are at. Let me check daily effects real quick. Is there anything else that we should really cover? You know what? Let's look at commodities real quick. Check gold real quick. Oops. And the reason I'm pulling up gold too is now the Top Step FX is allowing you to trade gold as well. Got that email. Should be interesting as well. I've got turning to the side. This one's been kind of an interesting. Okay, you guys see this? We had this gap area over here, right? Where is it? We had this area, right? Nice little bounce off of that. Okay. Since that time, it's kind of stabilized, right? And we've kind of wedged in between this zone here, and again, this upper level, right? Kind of this over here at 1580. Let's drop this down a lower time frame and let's see what we got. See, we're stuck in a wick over wick right now. It looks like it wants to go negative, based off of where we are. $15.04. Same technical setup as you would if you're area. I wouldn't go crazy with this one again. This area's been pretty respected. Top side, any type of spike or any type of movement across, again, here to the downside, looking, get lower. See where the basing level is. Okay. Fourth. Okay. See it? If you guys are on the channel, make sure you guys do exclamation point ticket to get in on this one. Josh, Felix, we have Pattern Trader in there. Mac is in. Vanessa got in early. Will has been taking that top position very, very quickly. Ernest just got in. James, where's James? Oh, James has got 2 tickets. He's trying to load it down today. JKWMS. Oh yeah, there you go. There you go. If he wins, Ernest, whoo, whoo, he snuck in and he stole you right at the end there. So we'll see how it turns out. So I'll give you guys like another 30 seconds if you guys are not already in, and then I will pull the trigger and award the pip chips. Now remember, pip chips can be rewarded for things. Currently, right now, where is it? It's in the stream store. Right now, I just have 30 minutes of mentoring. This is actually about to go up. I'm going to actually raise the limit on this one a bit. The parabolic retracement course will be added to this very soon as well. Again, once I send the email, then we will probably add it over here for people to be able to purchase with pip chips. And again, for those of you that are new, the way you get pip chips is by watching the program. And again, I do a giveaway every night. And then we do different contests here and there where I'll also give out pip chips. Can't chance forgetting. Hey, it's better than not being in at all, right? Because, Ernest is still salty because, he did not, he forgot to do it the other day. All right, so closing the giveaway down, and we will do the drawing right now. I will hit the draw button in 3, 2, 1, and the winner is Angry Mac. Look at that. Man, he sneaks in again, and then bam, steals it again. Look at that, Mac. Mac's got a pretty good track record. He shows up at like the last 15 minutes and then steals the contest. Ernest is like, come on. Mac's doing good with this, man. Yeah. We'll have Mac trading soon enough. Don't worry. You'll see him. You'll see him in the forums. I'm sure pretty soon. Yup, Mac. Vanessa's like, hey, home team, home team. Oh, that's so funny. She's like, Mac, you look at it. You already got a fan, man. Vanessa's like, yep, he uses a Mac. I'm all in. He's all good. So let's go across. Where is Mac? Angry Mac right there. Mac's over 100 now. All right. 25. Pip chips for the night. Bam, you were good. Congratulations, Mac. There you go. You've won, I think, 2 or 3 of these now. See what happens when you show up? Things happen. All right, guys. With that being said, I'm going to bounce. By the time I will talk to you guys in the morning, a lot of the pound news will already go. Don't forget, look at those early 2-hour morning ones. Look at some of the expirations early. Again, don't even hesitate to look at the ones that expire at 11. A lot of the premium things will be taken out of those already. All right. I like how Stream Element announces it when before Bryan has closed it. Yeah, it's because there's a delay. Because when I hit it, there's that 8-second delay across from when you guys see it. But Stream Elements throws it in quickly. Yeah. Yeah, because gotta realize I'm doing it live time, but you're seeing it. So like my live, like yeah, it's depending on where you live. Like I have about a 7-second delay. Yours is a little bit longer. So yes, you will hear it and then it'll happen. Crud, I need to cash mine in before the price goes up. Yeah, price is going up rather soon. It's gonna go up to 500. So, alrighty. That's it, guys. I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for attending, and I'll catch you then. Take care.